Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the best fight scenes in the Baki franchise. Number 10, Baki vs Hanayama. Even when the eponymous Baki was a kid, he still had some fantastic fights. One of his earliest rivals is Hanayama Kaoru, a teenage Yakuza boss of incredible strength. The duo gets into a fight in a high-rise nightclub. Along with their captivated audience, we're treated to a battle between teenage monsters. Although Hanayama's gripping attacks prove as terrifying as his backstory is badass, and it's awesome, Baki manages to hold his own. The 13-year-old manages to flip Hanayama multiple times, surviving being thrown out the window, and attack Hanayama's fingers to stop him from making a fist. While Baki remaining standing causes Hanayama to concede the fight, both combatants are worthy of our applause. Number 9, Baki vs Pickle. For most anime, a young fighter squaring off against an unfrozen caveman in an underground arena would be unusual. For Baki, it's a Tuesday. Their fight is anything but average though. Baki uses plenty of unusual tactics against his powerful opponents that make the fight wildly entertaining. These include everything from slaps to grazes that send Pickle's brain bouncing to hitting him between the legs. He even devises multiple dinosaur-themed martial arts. It's a phenomenal battle with a ton of creativity and a soundtrack that goes hard. Baki's final speedy assault on Pickle even forces the primitive Colossus to use a martial move, awarding Baki a symbolic victory, if not an actual one. Number 8, Doppo vs Shibukawa. One of the many cool things about the Maximum Tournament in Baki, and indeed the series in general, is that it allows for crazy matchups of different fighting styles. In the final of D Block, Karate Master Orochi Doppo faces off with Jiu-Jitsu Master Shibukawa Koki. Because Shibukawa is a master at redirecting his opponent's strengths, he manages to throw Doppo frequently during their fights. Doppo eventually forces Shibukawa to come to him, which lets him get a few hits in on the Elder Master. But ultimately, Shibukawa shocks everyone by using his neck to flip his opponents. These two may be senior members of the regular cast, but they prove just as hot-blooded and crazy as the youngsters. Number 7, Jack vs Muhammad Ali Jr. Baki's half-brother Jack is among the most ferocious and vicious fighters in the whole franchise, and his fights are equally brutal.
Beautiful.
In his quest to build up to fighting Baki, Muhammad Ali Jr. decides to challenge Jack. However, the boxer bites off more than he can chew with Jack, and Jack can chew plenty. Just look at him eat steak. Despite Junior getting in some solid punches, Jack's size, power, and tenacity overwhelm him. Worst of all, Junior refuses to give up. His pride only makes his injuries that much more heinous, as Jack turns Junior from babyface to busted face. Number 6, Baki vs Jack. Speaking of Jack, he and his brother Baki clash in the finals of the Maximum Tournament. Both seek to surpass their father, but go about it in very different ways. Jack's steroid-fueled body proves a blessing and a curse. While going overboard on them gives him the strength to keep going, it wrecks his body. The siblings each throw everything into the fight, with the emotions and stakes being among the highest in any fight in the franchise. Ultimately, Baki's determination and final front necklock unleashes his inner and outer ogre and allows him to achieve victory. Plus, he gains a new understanding with his brother. Number 5. Jack vs. Pickle. Perhaps Jack's greatest and most savage battle is against one of the few combatants able to match or exceed him in barbarity, Pickle. After an opening barrage from Jack, the two ferocious fighters engage in the most brutal lip lock of all time. In this biting contest, Jack doesn't just lose the exchange, he loses half his face. Jack doesn't let a little thing like that stop him though. He redirects Pickle's charging attack, stomps on his face, and even bites the caveman's ear off. However, even Jack's power can't overcome Pickle's ancient strength. Still, we have to give props to Jack. His resolve extends beyond his defeat and terrifies even Pickle. Number 4. Baki vs. Oliva. To get one step closer to defeating his father, Baki gets himself thrown in jail with the strongest man in America, Mr. Unchained himself, Biscuit Oliva. Oliva's offer to set a date for their fight escalates into a full-on melee between the duo that sees them burst through multiple prison walls. Their duel has some of the most ridiculous moves in the series, from Baki leaping off the ground using only his back muscles, to Oliva going full Pac-Man to swallow his opponent. Ultimately, it concludes with a contest of pure strength, with each pummeling the other until Baki pushes Oliva back so much that he breaks free of the prison entirely. As far as Baki himself, this is among his best fights. Number 3. Hanma vs. Spec. When Death Row inmate Spec came to Japan hoping to no defeats, he didn't bet on Hanma. The young Yakuza's battle with Spec is one of the most brutal knockdown brawls in the franchise. Every time you think it's over, it just keeps going. Hanma keeps asking if Spec wants some more. Well, we certainly do. Spec unleashes a barrage of punches that are strong enough to damage the Statue of Liberty. Hanma has bullets blown up in his mouth, even dragging Spec to the police station isn't enough, as Hanma endures getting shot and receiving a stun grenade to the face. This vicious street fight between criminals is the perfect blend of brutality and the outlandishness that makes for the best Baki fights. Number 2. Yujiro vs. Kakukayo. You wouldn't think that a fight between the strongest creature in the world and a 146-year-old man would be hype, but you would be wrong. Baki's dad Yujiro faces off against the ancient kung fu master Kakukayo in a tournament. And first, Kaku manages to put pressure on even Yujiro's overwhelming strength with his ultimate relaxation technique, which lets him move with his opponent's moves and unleash powerful blows of his own. However, even over a century of martial arts is no match for Yujiro's overwhelming power. Kaku even dies, though it's intentional on his part and temporary. He may not defeat Earth's strongest creature, but he doesn't quite lose either. The clash between power and technique is an epic one indeed. Before we unveil our number one pick, here's some honorable mentions. Oliva vs Guevara. Mr. Unchained faces an ex-pirate for his title. Katsumi vs Pickle. This karate kid's punch breaks the sound barrier, among other things. Doppo vs Yujiro. Even the ultimate karate dad can't overcome the ogre. Jack vs Sikorsky. That phone booth isn't big enough for both of them, or hell, even one of them. Kato vs Dorian Kaio. Karate student fights death row kung fu Santa Claus in a sewer. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure to go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Baki vs Yujiro, Round 2. Ever since this duo's first fight resulted in the death of Baki's mother, the Baki franchise has been on a collision course for the rematch between father and son. And it all explodes during a dinner out for the Hanma family. Their battle totals a restaurant and cars, and sees both Baki and Yujiro use every incredible, ridiculous technique they can against each other. Baki obtains a new level of speed by imitating a cockroach. Yujiro uses his son like nunchucks. This fight is epic, emotional, and encapsulates everything that's simultaneously badass, cool, and weird about Baki. Honestly, it'll take a lot to top this larger-than-life family quarrel. Is there a beloved Baki bout that we missed? Share your favorites in those comments below. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.